Hello and welcome to 𝗂𝗏𝘁 Spotlight. In this episode, we're going to talk about innovation in fast food. How do you find it? Where are the inspirations? And what are the trends now and in the future? To dive deeper, I'd like to welcome Jairus Lofton, Manager of Global Menu Strategy and Insights for McDonald's. Jairus, a big hello to you and thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us, how does McDonald's develop menu items? What's that workflow like there? Trying to create, dishes, menu items that will appeal to that given area while still retaining that, the McDonald's core brand identity.
Yeah, that's something that's so interesting. It's probably one of the first things that people talk to me about when they know that I work at McDonald's. They'll ask, "Hey, have you tried McDonald's in France or tried it in Australia?" It's really unique to our brand that we're able to bring across some of the core items that people know and love, like Big Mac, Quarter Pounder with cheese, but then also have these local flavors, local products that really appeal to the consumers there. Like all of our products, everything really starts with asking about the customer. So it starts with research, understanding what are the needs of the customer, what are the flavors that they're looking for, what are those pieces of culture or pieces of home that are going to resonate with them, and also something that we can execute in a way that actually lives within the kind of brand and personality, the DNA of McDonald's. It's definitely a challenge, but it's something that I think that we've been able to do really well. A good example of this is, as you look across the globe, we've got some things that are in common, like spicy chicken McNuggets, but it shows up in different ways in different markets. So when we have them here in the US, they've got that orange hue and kind of those overriding just spice notes, but when they show up in places like Japan, they use black pepper as their main kind of flavor that comes forward first. So that's a really unique offering for that market that's specific to that palate. But then we also have items that will start in a market, start in a country, and kind of spread throughout the globe. McSpicy is a really good example of that. It is a chicken sandwich where the heat from it just kind of grows over time until you get to the very end and you didn't realize it was that spicy until you're there and you're sweating and reaching for something to drink. It's a great sandwich that started in a market and has actually spread throughout the globe. And as markets kind of lift those items and shift them over to their own context, they are tweaking them slightly to make sure that they're going to fit the palate, fit the personality of the folks who are there, fit the needs, what they're looking for, and then most importantly, making sure that it actually fits within kind of the McDonald's family of products. So it's challenging, but it's something that we really enjoy doing, and it's something that we're going to continue to do.
Jairus, you have definitely had a diverse and varied background professionally, working for different brands, working for different QSRs as well. I'd love to hear your insights about what are some of the leading ways that fast food chains can and should be innovating, how to develop that strategy for innovation.
Yeah, I think there's a couple key things. First off, you want to have a blue sky approach when you're first thinking about innovation. You don't want to really throw out any ideas. You want to bring everything in that's might even seem impossible to do, but you want to be able to consider it. And as you think through those ideas, you want to have a really rigorous process in place that is going to help kind of screen out those ideas that won't work, and then the ones that will, and then think about how you can then execute that in a way that's going to be true to your brand. I think what you see for companies that really elevate themselves with innovation is they're not just thinking about how can I get that next LTO, how can I fill that next marketing window. They're really thinking, how can I build equity for my brand over time? So imagine if you have a string of disconnected chicken sandwich LTOs, limited time offers. They are, maybe they might help with sales over time, but they're not going to have a through line. They're not going to have a story, and they're not going to be building that equity for your brand. But consider, if you think about how you want to build your chicken share over time, and you want to be able to tell a consistent story for your consumer, you want to be able to put that through line in all of the initiatives that you're going to do and be thinking with that long-term equity in hand. So making sure that you have this process that screens out the bad ideas, get the good ideas that are going to provide that reach, they're going to provide that frequency and bring consumers in, and then make sure that you're looking further out into the future so that you're continually building your equity, so you can tap into that at a later date when you're going to need that.
And you did mention LTOs. What are some other ways you think will be effective in this time for fast food chains to really retain that customer loyalty in, a time that, I'm sure you're familiar with? It's a challenging time economically. Inflation is still up. You've got rising costs in QSRs, rising minimum wage. What are some ways, Jairus, that you think would be effective for QSRs to just keep customers coming back?
Yeah, it's something that's, industry-wide, obviously. Everyone's kind of feeling that. So consumers are really discerning with their purchases now, which means that you really need to be on top of things like execution. So a few key things is, reducing complexity where you can, finding efficiencies where they might exist. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, we don't need two separate buns for these sandwiches when we can combine them into one that's going to reduce potential waste. It's also going to reduce back of house complexity, cognitive load for our crew, making sure that we actually have a smoother customer experience. With that reduced complexity, you want to focus on operations and making sure that you really double down on getting your operations right. It needs to be a consistent experience for consumers as they come through, because they are willing to trade out to other brands. They have plenty of options, so you need to make sure that you're consistently delivering a great experience. And then when you're thinking about how to bring consumers in, bring in innovation, you want to do initiatives that are going to be larger, that are going to be kind of maybe bigger bets, but things that you can really put a lot of energy behind, and making sure that you're communicating to consumers why they want to choose your brand over others. So really tapping into what is going to authentically connect with them, and how is this product going to solve some of those needs, some of those desires that they have. And then, just making sure that you're really buttoned up on all the other areas is going to be key, as we're, feeling that there's a lot of competition, and it's also not a super hospitable environment at the moment too.
Right. Authenticity, that's such a key word these days in the food industry overall. People really wanting to see sincerity in what companies are, trying to sell. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Jairus Lofton, Manager of Global Menu Strategy and Insights for McDonald's. Jairus, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And you can check out all the great content that we've done by clicking on this playlist. Till next time, I'm Susan Choi. Take care.